Hello, this is Professor Tina Mims, and I'm here to present my results on studying millennials on the topic of if America is post-racial, is America also post-gender? I'm a professor at Texas Women's University. The introduction to this, of course, needs very little discussion because Barack Obama was elected in 2008, which made him the 44th president, shattering a 200-year Caucasian-dominated role in America. And while this did not end racism, it does, however, illustrate a historic change in American society. And post-racial is a term I first heard used by Oprah Winfrey in 2009, and since then, other scholars like Randall and Moon have used it to infer the activity and beliefs in America. And while racism and racial progress in America is not the focus of this investigation, gender bias in America is. So this research seeks to find if the emerging generation in America that we call the millennials is gender bias. And I want to know if they're gender bias in terms of a selection of a candidate for CEO. Now, just a little background on culture, and are the millennials a culture? Well, we know that culture stands for a bounded set of beliefs and practices among a people, and that we know that we can group people by age, and we can identify then the beliefs and characteristics of that group. Well, I used the Pew Research definition for millennials, which is ages 19 to 29, and these folks are also known as the digital natives. And Frand in 2000 had sufficient evidence to indicate that computers are not technology to the millennials, which is no surprise because to me and any one of you listening right now, a car is not technology to us. So, computers are not technology to millennials any more than, TV is the best thing to watch. In fact, internet is better than TV for the millennials. Doing is more important than knowing. And this, of course, is a challenge that those of us who motivate this group to learn has to tackle. Doing is more important. Typing is preferred to handwriting, and we know that cursive handwriting is practically gone. These millennials also have zero tolerance for delays. And Oblinger in 2003 also found that the millennials are racially and ethnically diverse. And millennials gravitate toward group activity, which in my mind makes me think of a flock of birds, and I look in the air and with an ebb and flow together as a group. A little background on American business. Well, American business is suffering right now in our economy. So we're looking, and you can see more published in this area, that indicates that women-led companies are outperforming the rest. And it's not by a little bit, it's by an average of 28% ROI. And how many women does it take to be on a board to make a difference? Well, it takes more than one, because one is not enough. And women make up half the labor force. Women earn 57% of the bachelor degrees and 60% of the master's degrees that are awarded annually. In addition to that, in terms with consumer decisions, women make 73% of the consumer decisions, yet only 6.3% have executive officer roles in American business. We also know from other scholars that found that, it's not the technical and functional knowledge that the C-suite needs, it's leadership skills. And women are better able than men to balance the nature of a manager's role. So I wanted to look at global question about where is American business, where is the United States, from a world view. And the World Economic Forum publishes a report annually on the gender gap being closed by certain nations. They study 134 nations and rank these on 4 to 6 different dimensions. And here's the top 15, and my question is, where's the United States? Where is the United States? Have we closed the gender gap? And that gets to my research question. So if America is post-racial, is America also post-gender? And are these millennials gender biased? And how's that going to affect us in the future when they emerge into the C-suite? I've got these also written as scientific hypotheses, but I'm going to move on to talk about the methodology. I took a convenience sample at 2 different universities, one that I teach at and one that I don't, and got students ages 19 to 29, males and females, that were born in the United States. Now, I only have 2 independent variables, but I do have 2 independent variables that I'm using, and one is the gender of the participant. Then I'm going to talk to you in a moment in detail about how I created an experiment that revealed and did not reveal the gender of the candidate. I've got 2 different outcome variables. One has to do with a candidate they picked, and again, I'm going to go into that. And the other has to do with some opinions that I wanted to gather. Again, trying to identify that millennial group as a culture. Well, now, I had to pretest this survey instrument because I wanted to make sure that I didn't build any bias into the subject matter. And I was able to perform that by being able to take my survey design and starting it with a whole bunch of unrelated items to this investigation. Basically asking the participants about their news and information sources. They read print newspaper, they use the print yellow pages, they use online sources for information, got their demographics, and then I introduced them to a news story that started out like this. Today an article in the news announced that the CEO of Apple is stepping down, yada yada. Then I gave them a list of typical CEO skills. And I don't want to rush this. I want to make sure it's very clear that then they were introduced to 4 candidates. These 4 candidates were called JJ, age 38, RR, age 38, and both JJ and RR had the exact same skill sets. Exact same skill sets. Then I also gave them candidates LA and KG, who are both age 49, and guess what? Yes, they both have exactly the same skill sets. I randomized the order of the candidates for them to pick to replace CEO of Apple. In addition to that, randomized the stimuli, meaning sometimes the gender was revealed and other times it was not. And this is in keeping with Campbell and Stanley's quasi-experimental design approach. Now, for the opinions, to get some more information from the millennials about what kind of attitudes they have that are shared, or maybe even different, I went to Renzetti's sex, role, and attitude scales that were 24 items, and of those, I only used 16. Yeah, the results are amazing. The results are amazing. Basically, there's sufficient evidence to indicate that the boys pick the boys when they know the boy is the candidate. And the girls are picking the girls when they know the candidate's a girl. That's right. You heard me. There's sufficient evidence to indicate boys pick boys and girls pick girls. And that would make sense that then if I don't reveal the gender of the candidate for these participants, these millennials to pick, that there wouldn't be any difference. And there wasn't. There wasn't. There wasn't. These results are also in keeping with other scientific criteria that you're typically used to looking at. So let's go on to the attitudes before we close this discussion. There were the 24 items that I asked. Basically, I learned that the millennials have the same opinions. They strongly disagree. Together. Boys indicated by blue here and girls indicated by pink. But on 3 items, they differ significantly. Men are better suited for politics. The girls strongly disagree. The boys don't. A wife should be willing to take the man's name. The girls strongly disagree. The boys don't. Another set of attitude scales that I asked them, I only found one other item that they had a differing opinion on, and that was having children never stands in the way of men. So what does this mean? Well, this means that boys are picking the boys, girls are picking the girls, so the millennials are biased. For the most part, millennials have similar beliefs. And there's really only 3 or 4 things that they oppose on. But boy, those are kind of important. Implications are that gender bias may have potential influence in American business in the future. And of course, there's some limitations here that I want to be able to make you clearly aware of. I used a convenience sample. These were mostly Texans, and while they may be reliable and you can repeat the results, I'm not quite sure that they're generalizable to the world population or even to the United States. I appreciate your time, and thank you. I hope you're as excited about this information as I am.